Hello there, everybody. Meteorologist Snow Bergen here. Hello, how are you? Hope you've had a great day so far today and are staying warm. Again, Storm Team Meteorologist Snow Bergen here on a Tuesday, the 11th of November, 2025, on what has been a historic day of weather here in Central Florida. We do have new records that have been set all up and down the state for the temperatures from this morning. And out there right now, it is still freezing. Let me know where you're watching from on Facebook, YouTube, and those of you on our Fox Local and web stream, you will see a 2-minute break coming up at 3:10 and 3:20, each lasting for 2 minutes. So those of you watching on our app, web, and Fox Local stream, again from 3:10 to 3:12 and 3:20 to 3:22, you'll see me go away to a quick break, and then it'll come back. We'll keep the weather coverage trucking until 3:30. But on Facebook, YouTube, we go straight with no breaks through the end of the half hour. So if you have a question, comment, or concern, please let me know on Facebook, YouTube, or just let me know what you think of the cold. It was freezing. There's no other way to say it. It was actually freezing this morning with the wind especially. Now, I do want to show you the current conditions out there because we do have the cold starting to retreat to the east. In fact, it only feels like 53 right now in Orlando, which... that's a record for the afternoon, yes, but look to our west. It's already 56 in New Orleans, 65 in Dallas, and in fact, it's warmer in Nebraska than it is here. That just tells you the jet stream pattern. You can see that across the country. 27 Pittsburgh, 37 Knoxville, and you can see that the points of this map is that the jet stream is right here. This is the jet stream, like that. So here's all the warmth. Here's all the cold, and the cold is going to swing on out heading into the weekend, and we're going to get all this warmth that's in the west back into Florida. So let's talk about the records that were set this morning. Well, first let me just show you the temperatures right now. So here we are. It's about 3:04. 56, the Villages. It's only 57 in Orlando. Most of these readings will, in fact, set records for the lowest afternoon high temperatures for this date on record. Just 54 now in New Smyrna and Daytona, 56 in St. Cloud, 56 in Cocoa Beach, and 57 currently in the Melbourne area. The winds are not nearly as strong as they were this morning. The winds this morning were about 30 to 35 miles an hour. Right now they're only about 10 to 25 miles an hour. So the winds have definitely come down significantly compared to where they were earlier today. Now across the state, I don't even want to call it warmer, but it is a slight bit warmer. It's into the mid-60s once you get down to Miami and West Palm. 66 in West Palm, Miami, 56 Ocala, 54 Jacksonville, and 59 currently in Tampa. The other headline is the low humidity. I mean, it is remarkably dry out there. These dew points are like, holy cow, level dry. If you've spent any time outside today, and you notice dry skin, dry lips, it's because there's no moisture in the air. I mean, these dew points are, this is as dry the air will ever get in Florida for any time of the winter season. I suppose it's possible we still have a little bit of dryness to go. If we had like a historic freeze outbreak of where the actual air temps got into the 20s in most of Florida and we had snow, then the humidity could be lower, I guess, which has happened before, but it's like twice every 100 years. But my point is, this is close to as dry as the atmosphere will ever get over Florida right now, at least over north and central Florida. You see the dew point is just 19 in Orlando, and you see the color table there. I mean, it's almost at the bottom of the color table there in terms of how dry the air is right now. So let me show you the lows from last night and this morning. So we'll start with the lows from locally here. So here were the lows today, and the places following here set new records. I've got the list here. So we've got Orlando is a new record. Sanford is a new record. Leesburg a new record. Daytona Beach, Melbourne, and Leesburg, DeLand. So we don't have records for like places like Titusville, New Smyrna. There's no airport or observing center there. So the point is, every spot in our area that had an official record-keeping location that we have weather records for is a new record for the date. Pretty significant. Now we had 35 for a forecast low for this morning from yesterday at this time on the afternoon and in the night news. We ended at 36. So that ended up being pretty good. The only surprise was Daytona Beach. I think we had Yesterday between GDO, Brooks, and Jess, and then me in the night, we kind of kept the continuity in the Storm team. About, I think it was 38 we had, 37, 38 at least, and then it trended it down. But that's a surprising one because that Daytona Beach, there was a little bit of uncertainty if it actually would get that cold. And it's fascinating why, because it's really hard this early in the year to get these temperatures this cold. You have to have the wind that blows in this direction. You have to. It has to blow all over land from Georgia all the way like this. And the reason why is because if the wind blew like this or like this, the water in the Gulf in the Atlantic is still really warm. So if you had, let's say, a wind from the northeast like this, all of these 70s water temps, that air would blow over the land. You would never have the temperatures this cold this early in the year. So meteorologically, it is very uncommon to rare to have even Palm Coast, Daytona, granted it's at the airport, it's a little bit inland, even New Smyrna and Titusville and Melbourne get all into the mid-30s this early in the year because the wind has to be perfectly only if and only in this direction from the northwest to get it like that. And that's essentially how it was last night into this morning. So there were the lows since midnight. Here were the lows across the state. Let me know where you're watching from if you have a question, a comment, a concern. How do you feel about the cold? Would love to hear from you. Let's see. Questions are coming in fast. Watching from Connecticut 37 here, says my mother. Hello. Miss you, love you. Let's see here. Pull up some of your questions. Jude says, hey, everybody. What's up, Orlando? Karen, how are you? Let's see. Let me pick a couple questions here, and let me pull some of them up. So let's start with this question here. If you have a question, I would love to hear from you. Let's talk some weather. That's what we're here for. So the first one here is William. And William says, hi, do we have a hurricane coming to Florida soon? How does the weather look for Thanksgiving and Black Friday? A little bit early for Thanksgiving and Black Friday. I'm just going to leave it at that. If you want me to close my eyes and throw a dart at the dartboard, I can do that. But it's too early. This time, next week, we'll have a better handle on an early outlook for specifics for Thanksgiving and Black Friday. But definitely next week is going to be a lot warmer than it is this week. So good question, William, but we'll table that for now, and we'll check back here in a little bit for that. Hey, Spencer, how are you? That's a good question. I don't know, but I will get into it. Hello from West Palm. Paul, where is your son that gives the weather to? I don't know who that means. Summit. William, hello. Lots of questions coming in here. Lots of questions. This is good. Love to hear your questions, comments about how you feel about the weather. I don't know what your YouTube name is, but somebody says here in Central Florida, it is very cold at the moment. Currently 307 and 56. Yes, it is very cold at the moment. That is for sure. Low temps this morning, again, record setting in Tampa, Orlando, Ocala. Miami, West Palm did not set records, interestingly enough. But this is probably the million-dollar question, which we're just going to talk about right now. Ms. Wilson asked this question. How long is the cold front here? Through tomorrow. So after tomorrow, we are gonzo. So great question there. Let me show you that with the morning lows, shall we? So here are the morning lows over the next several days. And notice, 40 tomorrow morning, so still cold to Wednesday. Still chilly Thursday, but it's really by the weekend that things get back to normal. So how long is the cold here for? Wednesday and Thursday. After Thursday, it's gone. Morning lows are back close to normal, which is in the 50s for this time of the year. Now, we do have cold air again for tonight that will potentially cause some freezing issues again. Now, this is from Tuesday morning. Let me get you the lows for tonight. So here's the lows for tonight, which notice there again could potentially be some issues here again with freezing concerns overnight. So this is Wednesday morning's lows, about 37 in DeLand, 35 in the Villages, 33 in Ocala. The only change tomorrow is the winds are going to be oh so much lighter. There won't be anywhere near as much wind tomorrow as there was today. So the wind chill factor is going to be substantially lower tomorrow than it was out there for today. 46 in Melbourne, 41 in Titusville, 37 in Daytona Beach, 39 in Bithlo, and 42 in St. Cloud. So highs tomorrow are going to trend in the right direction, but they're still going to be well below average. I mean, today we're about 57. Tomorrow will be about 69-ish for an afternoon high. But again, yeah, definitely historic cold. Remarkable, in fact, how early in the year it was. Let me see if I can pull up the graphic here that Brooks made this morning for the record lows. I don't know where it went. Give me a second. Let's see if I can pull it up here. I think this is going to be it. Let's see. Oh, it's not, but okay, so this is some good context here. So while we're on the subject of cold, you can check out these stats here. So the coldest temperature ever in Florida was the 1899 cold air outbreak of the air temp got to -2 in Tallahassee. The coldest Orlando temperature was 18 in December of 1894. The last time it was this cold was January 15th of 2023. So while we are nowhere near as cold as it's been previous, definitely it's pretty close to not being comfortable for more than a day. If we had this for a few days, it would definitely be pretty uncomfortable. So let me show you the radar out there tonight. Here we are on the exclusive radar. It's about 3:14 p.m. Thanks to all of you watching on Facebook, YouTube, and again on Fox Local. Fox Local Friends, you'll see a break coming up at 3:20. So lots of good questions. William says, did you wear your coat today? I did. I actually remembered my Fox 35 jacket, which was much needed because it was actually freezing earlier today. It still is freezing, but it was super freezing this morning. Jessica says, watching from Florida, I'm used to the cold. I was born in Kentucky. Well, Florida, like Kentucky, the cold can be a whiplash oftentimes where it's cold and then it's storming and hot a few days later. Now, it's not going to be storming here, but it's going to be way warmer than what it is right now by the middle part of next week. And you can see there on the radar right now, there's nothing doing. Now, one storyline we're going to watch over the next couple of weeks and really months is drought. And I know this seems like crazy to mention because we still have areas of Eustis, Mount Dora, and Titusville dealing with the extreme flooding from a few weeks ago. But this is definitely going to be something you hear more about in the next few months. We already have extreme drought now in the Florida Panhandle. The Tampa area, we now have moderate drought. You see the stages of drought here on the top of your screen, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Water shortages generally start extreme and exceptional. But come the springtime, we're in a La Nina pattern. So generally La Nina in winter, that's the pattern over North America. La Nina in winter means dry. Now, it normally does rain in the winter. This is a misconception, one of many I've learned in Florida, that I make it my life mission to make Floridians, we're all on the same page with this. It does rain in the winter in Florida. It's amazing how often I get asked this when it rains in January about I didn't think it rains in January. I don't know whoever said that, the weather, but it does rain. So when we talk about above or below normal, in December, January, February, the average rain is only like 1.5 or 2 inches per month, which in the grand scheme of things is really not much. But if we're below 1.5 inches of rain, that's close to zero. So generally in La Nina, Florida almost always is drier than normal. We go through long stretches where it doesn't rain anything, zero. So this is going to be something we have to watch. If the pattern holds through winter, this drought is going to expand across the state, and we'll have probably a large part of the state severe or extreme drought. It happens most La Nina winters going into spring. So by February, March, and April of next year, wildfire season, drought, those could be things in the headlines. So this is just something to table for, in the back of our heads for the next few weeks and months. Is we do have developing drought, and going forward, there's really no clear sign of any big rain in sight anytime soon. So there's the radar tonight. Things are good and dry. Show you the satellite. You can notice pretty cool, actually, interestingly. So let me turn off this layer here. Now, what we call these are cloud streets. Actually, quite interesting. So if you look here, there's a lot of clouds out over the water, and there's a lot of clouds here out over the Gulf. And the clouds here from the Carolinas into the Gulf, this is only being caused because the really cold air up to the north, remember we've got really cold air up here, up across the deep south, this is blowing over the warm Gulf waters. And the water in the Gulf and in the Atlantic is still in the 70s. And it's interesting, you see there's no real clouds over Florida, but there's these clouds, they come in these little streets over here, over here, over here, over here. They're called cloud streets. You see how they're just aligned in these little rows. That's when it's like lake effect. You blow really cold air over warm water, and you get clouds to form, but they don't overland. You see there's no clouds over, low clouds over Orlando, but you go west and east over the water, and there's a lot of clouds. So it's definitely kind of an interesting thing to point out there. By the way, the cold front, look how far east it's made it. This is our high-res radar, so that's why the domain is only this right here. High-res satellite, I mean. Here's the cold front. This is Bermuda right here. The cold front is now east of Bermuda. It's almost through the Bahamas. It's almost to Jamaica. So places like Nassau and even Cancun and Cozumel, all getting the very cool air from the north. So this cold front has made it well even into the Caribbean out there for tonight, heading into tomorrow. So we're going to take a quick break here. I will be right back on Fox Local coming up at 3:22. But those of you on Facebook, YouTube, keep watching. I'll be right back. I'll talk to you much more about the cold and also the warm-up that's coming next week. I'll take a quick break for about 60 seconds. I'll see you back here in just a second. Hello, everybody. Welcome back there. It is 3:21. Sorry about that. Here we are back talking about the cool weather. So here we are in the eastern U.S. We've got temperatures into the 20s, 30s, and 40s. 44 in Atlanta, 28 in Chicago, 30 in New York. It's 26 in Syracuse, 27 in Boston, 33 in Philly. So the cold is moving east, and the cold is moving out over the next couple of days. So let's talk about the warm-up, shall we? This is the forecast here for next week. Let's put this up here. Yeah, so look at this. This right here is the forecast for next Thursday. Look at that. Look at that. So if you are sick of the cold, this is something to look forward to for next week. It's going to be warm. It's going to be nice. I don't think there's going to be rain through at least next Thursday. But yeah, this is a complete 180 from where we are right now. All right, so any more questions, please Send them in. I'd love to hear from you. Southwestern Ontario, Canada here on YouTube. Hello, how are you? You need a hot chocolate for your voice. I'm actually not a huge hot chocolate fan, William. I did wear my coat today, William. I obviously I know who Eric is. I don't know him that well, but yes, another Orlando person. Are we getting any more hurricanes? Twin Smile Aviation on YouTube. Are we getting any more hurricanes? Are we done for the season? Sure, I'll show you that in a hot second. So here's the temperatures for next week, though. Mid 80s by next Thursday. So if you hate the cold, that is something to look forward to about a week out from now. So many of you are asking about the hurricane season. So let's take a look. So here's a plot. This is the European model. We're talking about, this is the chance of tropical development over the next 10 days. Interesting, notice there's this zone way up in the northeastern Atlantic. I doubt that's going to do anything. We'll see. So here's the chances of a tropical storm in the next 10 days. I don't buy this system up here. This system up here in the northeast Atlantic. I think this is probably far-fetched. But notice right here in the southern Caribbean, there is still a zone here of maybe some development over the next few days, which I still kind of do think is going to happen. We haven't seen it yet. Right now, the Hurricane Center still says there's no activity over the next week. But take you here on the GFS model, and we'll look. Notice, let's take a look here. We'll put up the vorticity chart. See a little area of spin. In fact, it kind of generates two systems. One here on the East Pacific, and one here in the southern Caribbean. Weak little systems down there. They barely even register on the precip chart today. Yeah, it doesn't even look like much. Now, check out the European model today. You can't even really see much. So probably for us, it's done at this point. There's still, I think, maybe one or two more systems in the Caribbean that try to form. But outside of that, I think we're probably done, especially after the cold fronts now that have come into Florida. So that's good news there. Now, I do want to make mention of a big pattern change. And what we're looking at here is the pattern towards the end of the month. So I drew this up a few minutes ago. So this is the pattern towards the end of the month. And what I want you to notice here, in black is the track of all the weather systems from now through the end of the month, through Thanksgiving. And this is the average of the weather pattern from now through Thanksgiving. And right now, it's oriented northwest to southeast. And by the second half of the month, it flips and it goes southwest to northeast across the country. And in the red circle, that's where there's probably going to be several chances for severe weather. Probably just to our north. Maybe one or two could clip us here in central Florida, but places like the Florida Panhandle, North Florida, Georgia, South Carolina, Alabama, Mississippi, Louisiana, Arkansas, East Texas, Eastern Oklahoma, Western Kentucky, Southeast Missouri, all those areas, Tennessee, in that black circle. Starting next week, I think there's going to be several chances for severe weather, and it'll be a very active second half of November with not as much cold for us here in central Florida, at least just the way it looks right now, over the next couple of weeks. So let me show you the European model here. So here's the GFS model, which notice temperatures climbing into the high 80s by the end of next week. And then maybe another cold front right around Thanksgiving. But yeah, it's a complete 180 here in terms of the temperatures. We go from the 40s right now to the high 80s. Look, these are the afternoon highs. 58, 69, 73. And then next week we're back rocking into the 80s. So a huge pattern flip as we head into the end part of the month and then right before Thanksgiving. So if you hate the cold, that's some good news there. But there's the warmth coming in for next week. So appreciate all of you watching on Facebook, YouTube, Fox Local. Again, it's a frosty day out there. Lows again tonight are going to be very cold. Here are the temperatures right now. still only in the 50s in most locations outside of Miami and West Palm, Fort Myers. But again, here's the lows for tonight. It's going to be frosty once again. We got the cold for tonight, tomorrow night, and then by Thursday it starts to really move out. So we've got another day and a half or so of this real cold, and then it'll start to move away. Appreciate all of you watching on Facebook, YouTube, Fox Local. I'll see you coming up tonight on the news at 5, 6, 8, 10, and 11. Talk to you much more about the cold and the pattern change coming in for next week. For now, have a good rest of your afternoon. I'll catch you later.